And I think we're online. Yeah, we are. Hey, people. Hey, guys. Hey, Ariel.
Hello, Marcus. Thank you for
Hey, how
having
are
me.
you today?
I'm doing great.
You're doing great. Perfect. So, what's the topic today, actually? I have no idea. I need to check. Oh, we have got Dolby Atmos on the PlayStation 5 now, which
Well,
I couldn't care less. But anyway, it's just my opinion.
well,
So, that's just
well.
me.
I think we have a lot of things to talk about. There's a lot of
Okay.
hot topics. I especially want to talk about, LG stopping innovation.
Oh,
Just
yeah, you told
to,
me about this. Yeah.
yeah, you know, I recommend everyone to watch this FOMO video that I saw, and this is something that's happening with gaming too. So I definitely want to talk about this. Basically, of course, these companies want to make money, and trying to make money, they are sacrificing the quality of the games and now the quality of the TVs. Like, I mean, good TVs are not making them money. They are basically losing money trying to innovate and making good TVs, and then just advertisement is what's gonna make them the money. So then we enthusiasts, we're gonna suffer that. It's terrible. It's happening with gaming too. Your microtransactions and your season pass and all that stuff. So yeah, it's very sad news. We can talk about that.
We will
And
do this for sure. So I mean, I heard about this, and I saw a couple of videos, of course, from HD TV test about the S95C as well. And he's not happy about this, about the S95C. But again, I'm very happy that I decided to go with the Samsung, not with the G3 this time. Yeah, but anyway, but let's start with Dolby Atmos, and I was hoping actually that we can get a Biff, home theater guy, today to the stream, because he's doing a lot in terms of audio, but unfortunately he got no time, because I have literally no idea about Dolby Atmos. I heard it probably once in a theater cinema, but I don't have a Dolby Atmos system at home. I don't have it, so I don't know if this is actually a big improvement or not, to be very honest.
yeah, me either. But what I'm using right now is a program called Dolby Home Theater on the PC, and what it does is that no matter what the game, so the game is a stereo. It doesn't matter if you have like four speakers. This program is gonna, mix it up and give you surround audio basically. So it
Okay.
doesn't matter which game it is. So that's really what I prefer, is that regardless of the game implementation or the audio or whatever, if I spend money on an audio system, I want to enjoy it no matter what. So if there's a program that can do this mixing into a surround system, I don't care if it's called Dolby Home Theater or the name of whatever it is. I want to enjoy that. Of course, I'm sure there's a quality attached to what you're saying. Like, I mean, that support is probably gonna give you a higher quality audio for the games that support that. But then that's the thing. So the feature is new. How many games are gonna support the feature? Is that something that's gonna be updated so every game supports that feature? Or is that something that you're going to have to depend or rely on the developers? Because
Yeah.
every time we have to rely on the developers,
Then
um,
don't do
we
it.
are screwed.
Sorry, but
That, yeah, that's why I get so excited when I discover any auto HDR tricks, because if the game doesn't even support HDR, what are you gonna do? I want to get that picture quality no matter what. So yeah, that's why I prefer this kind of stuff, like a program or a trick or something, so you can always get the best quality no matter what. But yeah, I guess it's a good feature.
the lazy gamer is actually working in Dolby Atmos gaming space for a few years. So what do you mean with working? Are you in the industry, or are you playing around with stuff or whatsoever? I mean, you can jump on the stream if you want, if this is possible, because literally I have no idea about Dolby Atmos. I know that you have heaps of speakers, like crazy, heaps of speakers, but my system right now is a normal 5.1 Dolby Digital or DTS system, which is for me at the moment more than enough. But maybe it's time to step up.
I think these LG TVs, they say they have Dolby Atmos.
Yeah, but this, I know this all this virtual, also with the sound bars, they're saying DTS and surround sound and whatever. It's not the same. It's just crap, in my opinion. You have nice effects, but if you ever heard a proper 5.1, or I had a friend of mine in Germany had a 7.1 cinema system, really, really great, and this was just wow, But yeah, I mean, you need the space and you need to sit in the right spot. That's the problem always.
Well, it says here on the TV, it says Dolby Atmos. Enjoy Dolby Atmos content with vivid surround effect, connected TV speaker and device that support the TV sound mode. So you have to connect the Dolby Atmos system. So this TV has digital output and maybe HDMI 2.1 with with the eARC port maybe. And that's how you can get this working. You need to have the device that support that, like a sound system. That's
okay. Yeah. Okay. Can I? Because people, of course, asking, but I can't share in this cheap StreamYard. I can't even put a PDF file on. Unbelievable. Are you kidding me? Not even that. I really need to upgrade at some point if you do this more often. But anyway, so what is Dolby Atmos? So just a very quick summary. It's a lot of speakers. That's all. That's what you get. That's what you get. So Dolby Atmos is not just really having speakers on the side, also on the top. Okay, so that means if a plane or a helicopter, whatever, is flying over your head, you can really hear this. That's the plan. Well, that's the theory behind this. So a lot of speakers, okay? But maybe the lazy gamer can explain this better. What is this here? Atmos open the door to channels above and below you, below as well. So I don't know. I have never seen anyone having speakers below. How does this actually, works? You need to put this in the floor. How can 7.1.4, so 4 subwoofers. Yeah. No, it's the height channel. Okay, so seven main speakers, 1 subwoofer and 4 height channels. Yeah, okay. Look, it's actually probably even easier to add height speakers than more floor speakers, to be honest, because nothing is on the ceiling usually. You can just add them. But I haven't heard it. So is there any? Because I think Ariel as well. We are very interested in sound as well, because good sound or good music or good quality of sound is very, very important when you play games. I think we talked about in this the last week already, and that people are hardly talking about sound in games, because everything is just focused on graphic and HDR. But sound, of course, is very, very important. The problem what many people facing, that they can't put 10 speakers in the room. So is there any really good headphone what someone can recommend? And I'm really talking about even it's $1,000, $2,000, because if you consider to put now 10 speakers plus a subwoofer plus an AV receiver, you spend thousands of dollars. So if a headphone costs, let's say, $5,000, I'm actually not happy to pay that, but that's the price what I would expect for the same quality. But
yeah, absolutely. I'm a musician, so I definitely care about audio. I don't know about audio yet, but yeah, it costs a lot of money to get into it. But
so we have Classy Tech in the house. You wanna join, Classy?
So the thing is, the PS5 is cheap. Someone that has all the audio gear to enjoy that Dolby Atmos, that's a lot of money. So if you're gonna spend all that money, you need to get a PC, because you probably are playing on a gigantic TV. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to have like $5,000 of audio equipment plus your big gigantic TV probably to enjoy that, and then play on a $400 console. I don't think
Yeah,
that
no,
makes a
yeah,
lot of sense.
yeah, no. It's a so
But
is there
maybe
also
if,
Dolby? Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say maybe if there's a way to get that quality for cheap, because maybe you don't need to have very expensive audio in the ceiling.
And also, I mean, I experienced in my very beginning with Audi when I was able to afford stuff. I bought, of course, cheap speakers, and this was a very big mistake because in the beginning I focused on hardware, in terms of the best DVD player, the best AV receiver, and I bought a Denon, and Denon was like the high end back then, and I spent for a DVD player back then 1,200 German marks. So this is probably maybe around 800, 900 euros for a
Wow.
DVD player back then. So for a DVD player, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Nowadays, okay, you can't buy a DVD player anymore, but a Blu-ray player costs you $100 and you get the best quality. There's not much difference anymore between high end and low end anymore. But the problem what I did, or the biggest mistake what I did, really, I spent so much money on DVD and AV receiver, and I had no money left for speakers. And I will never do this again. So speakers first, and even you can't afford a 5.1, start with two floor speakers for stereo, but buy proper one. That's the thing. That's my only advice.
Yeah, but the audio is a rabbit hole, because then some people say that even more important than the speakers is the room. And the room is
Absolutely,
like
absolutely.
a
There's
room to
no
be
doubt about
perfect.
that. There's no doubt about that, because you can put a $1 million speaker in a shitty room and you have shitty sound. And you put a $100 speaker in a perfect room and you have a much better sound. Now and I experienced this on my own, because I had almost a really great room actually for my audio setup back then in Germany, and my speakers were literally meters away from the wall. I'm not kidding. They're actually almost in the middle of the room, because the closer speakers are to the wall, the worse it gets in terms of sound. So, and yeah, it looks awful if a speaker sits almost 2 meters away from walls, in the middle of the room, and you have cables lying around, but the sound quality, oh my goodness. Anyway, it's too much. Anyway, so I never experienced Dolby Atmos, unfortunately, just maybe in cinemas, but you're not sitting in the perfect spot, of course, to experience this. And we have a super chat. Thank you very much. Solid Crusader 89. Hello there. I have a Samsung HWQ80R soundbar which support Atmos. With that, I have subwoofer and two rear speakers. Okay. I was hoping if you have any source for best equalizer settings for this setup. Wow. No, I don't have any source for this. So, sorry for that. So my what I learned. So in terms of equalizer, he's probably talking about bass and treble settings and stuff like that, or what do you think?
I don't know, man. I have no
But
idea. Like, I'm just a complete beginner when it comes to audio. I am a musician, so I
you
will
should
learn
know.
that at some
You
point.
should.
I will definitely learn about that, but I'm still like I don't know how
So,
to
I mean,
record that.
look, it's the same as with graphics or in general. The best setting is for you what you like. Full stop. That's the right answer, because what I like maybe you don't like. So what I found that in some music or whatever, I like a neutral tone. That means I don't like to have any yeah, not additional bass or something like that, but in some other music I enjoy it actually. So those headphones here are actually very neutral, or what should I say, plain, not plain, very neutral. They're not adding anything. So they're Sennheiser actually. Sennheiser is known for having a very accurate sound, not of course very accurate, but more accurate than when you buy something from whatever Asus or something like that. Okay, so I prefer more this, but no, sorry, I don't have any sources for this. Sorry for that.
What I do, for example, that now you mentioned accuracy. When I practice the guitar, for example, I like to record, not record, I have the microphone with headphones, with good headphones on my studio. And then I have, of course, the volume super high. And then I add reverb and some effects. So it doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound like it would, in front of you. But because it sounds better than real, I get more emotional. So I improve, actually. So it sounds better than what is actually happening, but because of that, I put more emotion on it. So it's not accurate, but it's better for me.
Okay, so Leslie wrote that Corsair has an Atmos headset for Xbox with the Atmos license for like $150 to dip your toes. What does dip your toes means? That it's great?
That means just to get into it, just to get
Ah,
into
okay.
it, just for you to get
Okay.
started.
Okay, yeah, why not? I can look into this. $150 US dollar, probably Australian bonus $300 then. But that's how it is. But yeah, no, I'm really looking into this a little bit more. I'm always going to. I'm always hesitating to buy the PlayStation 5 headphone because I heard it's actually not too bad in terms of surround sound, but then other people saying that the sound quality in general is bad. So I'm not expecting much from a $150 headphone, to be honest.
And will that work on a PC, or is that just something exclusive to the
probably
Xbox?
So the PlayStation 5 headphone just works on PlayStation 5. Not sure about Corsair if this also works on different, but maybe just on the Xbox.
No, I'm sure it works, but I mean the feature. I've seen some games that say Dolby. I believe Returnal says it has Dolby, and it also have ray trace audio, and it has some high-end audio features. Returnal on the PC. So I wonder if that would work with.
Let's have a look. Gaming and Dolby Atmos. So what games do we have actually? Okay, this of course is the Xbox website. So I don't know if there's any. Is there any PlayStation 5 game right now which really supports this? Because I mean, this was just introduced. I don't think that developer will put this feature in if it's not support this.
Yeah, it might be a situation like the Dolby Vision on the Xbox that is supported, but it's not like natively created for the features.
So here, for an example, Hogwarts Legacy supports just 7.1 on PlayStation 5, but up to 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos on Xbox and PC. So it's not supported on PlayStation 5. Don't know if this can get patched in later on, in games. If this is easy to do, or maybe not. So what is this question here? Nono206. Hi from France. Hey, how are you? Do you think Sony can add Dolby Vision support on PlayStation 5 for Blu-ray movies at least? In the future, it is possible only with software? Yes. It is, as far as I understand, it's anyway just a software thing, Dolby Vision.
Yeah, it's just a matter of licenses and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a matter of paying. But that's the same thing what happens with Dolby Atmos, because they have to pay now for this. Sony has to pay for each, they have to pay license now, yeah? That's how it is. That's why you most likely haven't seen it, because it's just software. It's not hardware, because nowadays the consoles or PCs are so powerful they can add this with software, as far as I understand. So there's no hardware needed. So yes, I think so. They can easily add this, and that's maybe the next step, because now they're having Dolby Atmos, and at some point maybe they're adding Dolby Vision. But I have my own opinion about Dolby Vision. It's actually very overrated, in my opinion. Dolby Vision Gaming is very overrated, not Dolby Vision. Okay, what else do we have? Do we have any? Just let me read a couple of comments, because maybe we missed something. We have this here. That's for you, Plasma TV.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, what I do is I share the things that I am learning. I'm not an expert, but every day I'm just tweaking settings up and down, and if I learn something new, I'm gonna tell you, because that also helps me to learn faster. People tell me, hey, yeah, I tried that. Actually, you have to try this or that, or people tell me, read this article or watch this video, and that's why I do it. So thank you.
Yeah. He is absolutely right, Quad. PlayStation 2 was actually back then, when it was released, in tests, not there was no difference to high-end DVD players, and it's clearly, I mean, we're talking about digital information, so where should be there a difference? If you're not changing the signal, if you're just delivering the signal to the source, there's no difference. And this was back then, I can remember, because I was very present in hi-fi forums, you know, and the people, they were going nuts, you know. I say, I can clearly see a difference because I have a $2,000 DVD player. There must be a difference. Yes, nah.
PlayStation
Was
2
really good.
was a great console. I've never owned it. My
Oh,
friend
yeah.
of mine had it, and I always wanted to have it. In a lot of games on the PlayStation 2 were 60 frames per second. Actually, more games I think on the PlayStation 2 are 60 frames per second than on the PlayStation 3. I believe that's the
Yeah.
case.
Hey, Neshilobi. Marcus, do you still think the Samsung was the right choice? Absolutely. I find myself leaning that way because of color, volume, and brightness. Look, it's not just because of color, volume, and brightness, because you hardly. So, what I learned so far when I did because I can compare all the time, you know, G2, ZX, and Samsung S95C, there is not much content which really actually uses BT 2020 or something like that. So, of course, the Samsung S95C has the advantage when we're talking about bright colors. There's clearly a big advantage compared to my ZX next to it. And even this G2, there's no chance that the OLED TVs can compete. But it's not like a day and night difference. Okay. What I found actually in terms of day and night is the panel uniformity. Absolutely the best what I had so far. There is zero issues at all. Okay, I did the test with 5% grayscale pattern. You know, on my Samsung S95C, where you have this 1%, 2%, you know, it's very, very bad for OLED TVs when you do this because it looks terrible. It looks also terrible on the S95C. I was actually shocked. But then I did the same test on the G2 and I see, okay, the S95C is pretty good. You know, so the panel uniformity is the way you should actually, why you should buy a S95C, not just because of brightness, not just because of color uniformity or colors in general. That's my opinion.
Yeah, those near black full screen pictures of the grayscale are frightening. You open that on a WRGB OLED, you think that your TV is broken because it looks horrendously bad on a dark room. I have a question. I'm not sure if you can answer this, or maybe Classy, if it's still on the comments. If you have the S95C on DCI-P3, if you increase the color saturation, are you going to the most colorful colors, or is the TV clamping the color gamut? Is the color gamut clamped so you cannot go beyond past certain point? Or if you keep increasing the color saturation, if you're on DCI-P3, if you are getting all the color gamut that the TV can push, if you can basically, okay, the game doesn't support or doesn't have a lot of colors or whatever, I'm just gonna increase the color saturation because I like it. Are you going to get the most colorful colors, or you have to be on that BT 2020 option on the color gamut on the TV? Do you know the answer for that question?
I don't. I can think about. I would guess it will actually clamp, because what would be the point then
Of
to
having
have
the option? Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
so what I can say, so maybe he can answer this, but what I can say, so he shared with me his BT 2020 calibrations, you know, which of course is not, it's, you have to use it carefully because it's not, he's having, I think, a bigger TV anyway, so the panel is not quite the same. But I'm using his BT 2020 calibration settings, and I compared with the DCI-P3 standard factory setting, which is calibrated by Samsung. BT 2020 is not just open, whatever, everything is reddish. After I used his settings, and it's also included with decreasing the color volume, actually, or the color settings from 25 or 22 to 20, it's pretty good. It's really, really pretty good. And I'm going to buy the new Spears and Munsell, because he told me there's actually some test sequences which is using BT 2020, and when you then switch between DCI-P3 and BT 2020, you can actually see the difference, that it's now using the full color capabilities from the TV. So
awesome.
that's something.
So basically, now you look at a skin tone without BT 2020, and it doesn't look red. It doesn't look raw.
No. It looks actually better with his calibrated setting, is my opinion, because I found the picture a little bit too bluish. So because I can't calibrate the S95C, I don't have a spectral radiometer. I don't have a 5 nano radiometer. I can't do it. Okay, with my cheap thing, with my cheap colorimeter, I can't do it. So that's why I'm relying on his findings. But again, of course, it's not the same, but it looks crazy good. It looks really good. And you have to watch. So people, you have to watch for great HDR. Watch The Witcher. I never watched this. I'm watching this because of the story, okay, not because of the other. Anyway, so it's really unbelievable great HDR in The Witcher. It's crazy. You have to watch this. Really, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm not watching anything, to be honest, on the TV. I only game. But I might give it. I watched Game of Thrones a long time ago before even having
because of the story. Absolutely.
But yeah, I have to watch something too. Also, have you tried, for example, on that A Witcher or any movie, have you tried this new HDR analysis tool? Because it works for videos the same way you analyze on the consoles. You can use this with MVP.
Yeah, but that means I would need to watch this on Netflix or whatsoever, huh? On the
I don't know how to do it yet. I haven't researched about that. I don't know how to do it yet, but I know it works with a video player, MVP. I know you have to search for MVP plus reshade, and then you can open a movie on HDR and analyze.
I mean, I'm doing this. I'm using the MPV player with analyzing the console stuff. Yeah, this works.
It's the same then. It's the same. Just open a movie with that player. It's the same.
Okay, but I would need to have, of course. I can't because it's just on Netflix. I'm using Netflix. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. But I would need to probably have the Blu-ray or whatsoever. Yeah, of course it should work exactly the same. Yes, but no, I haven't done it. No.
It would be interesting. That content doesn't exist on YouTube, so it would be a very interesting content.
Yeah, the problem is it's very hard to show probably on YouTube because of copyright issues.
Oh yeah,
that's the problem. Because I did this once with Red Dead Redemption, and there actually Rockstar Games is ridiculous. You know what I mean? There was a trailer I showed in the back on my TV, and I got not a copyright strike, but I was demonetized for this video. Or Rockstar took the money. Let's say like this. Yes, they are crazy, and that's why I don't like Rockstar anymore. No, it's not nice. You know, you're promoting a game or whatsoever. So you know what I mean. So what's the? Anyway.
Yeah, I think I changed my face again because I was limited and my face. I was looking washed out.
That's good. Okay, what else? Oh, we have Fabian in the house. Hey, Fabian, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Not bad, not bad. This reminds me always when I see him. I should do some streaming again, gaming. Because he and I forgot her name. Oh, what was your wife's name? Bloody hell! I'm very sorry. I forgot her name. I'm very sorry for that. But they helped me so much in Resident Evil. You know, when I did the live streaming of this game, and I like it. Resident Evil 7. I love this game. Really good. So what else do we have? I used these. Let me just. There are so many comments, and again, guys, put a Q in the comments or before your question if you have a question. Oh, by the way, I need to say something because I had a little bit of a discussion yesterday with someone about the S95C and the HDMI ports are limited to 40 gig situation or whatsoever. So, and yeah, that's true because this was proved by HDTV test by Vincent. But I can easily, I don't know what the problem is with other TVs, but I can connect my PC and play in 144 Hertz, 4K and HDR enabled. There's no problem at all. There's no turning off, nothing. So maybe there is some issues with sim firmwares or whatsoever.
Yeah, so what you shouldn't be able to do is to have 4K 120 hertz full RGB 12 bits. You could have 10 bits, but 12 bits. If you try 12 bit, it shouldn't work. But now, for example,
why should I try 12 bits? There's no 12 bit panel out there. just to have a little bit better.
To test the bandwidth.
I can do this. But yeah, no, I get it. But maybe so I haven't looked, of course, at the what was used at this moment. If there was RGB used or maybe YCBCR, I don't know. But I can just tell you it works and the picture quality is amazing.
Yeah,
so.
Sure. You go to the NVIDIA control panel and you can change that. For example, on my LG C1, this shouldn't work, but I can create a custom 8K resolution, 30 hertz, 12 bits full RGB, and that shouldn't work because that requires the full 48 gigabyte, and that shouldn't work, but it does work. And I don't know why, but it does work.
Okay, no, I have to check this. But again, I just thought to bring this up because I mean, we know the LG ZX had also the 40 gig, limitation, and there was never. Can you remember when there was this the big before the PlayStation 5 release and whatever, an Xbox release, there was actually this big scandal because oh my god, the brand new TV can't do this. There was not a single problem at all, not a single problem at all in using anything. I mean, I'm very sure they know what they're doing. I'm very sure. But anyway, but on the other hand, I don't understand why we don't have the full bandwidth. I mean, that's probably also maybe because of this.
No, it is. HDTV test said that is because of the One Connect box. That's why. It's a limitation from the One Connect box, which is a nice feature because you have that thin TV all the way up. That's what people really love.
And just one cable, really.
Yeah.
Now I'm using the One Connect box with the short cable, but I have to say this. So maybe there's also a difference because I heard it also when you use this long cable, which is is it 2 meter or even longer? I mean, this can maybe cause issues, if you have now million of little cables, wires, and you have very long cables. So that's probably not a good thing. Anyway, so Glassy wrote Samsung needs to fix the BT 2020 out of the box calibration. Yeah, I agree. Make that default. Using P3 should only be meant for creation that need it clamped. So see, there's your answer. It's clamped.
Yeah, I mentioned that on the last live stream because I heard that from him. Yeah. Because all the content, all the HDR content is on BT 2020 container, all of it. So if the content, is graded, the content, even if the colors are going up to DCI-P3, is within a BT 2020 container. So that should be the option on the TV. If the colors are not going far away, that's okay, but it's still BT 2020.
Yeah, I'm even using the BT 2020 now with gaming mode because Glassy told me just reduce the color actually to 18, which should gives you a fairly good result. I mean, again, it's not calibrated. It's just a very easy fix, but for gaming and it doesn't need to be very, very accurate. You know what I mean? For movies, when I'm watching this, I'm because I did this many, many years ago, in my broadcast when I calibrated TVs, I can't stand yellowish, greenish. I know how a face has to look like, and that's I can't stand this. But in games, to be very honest, I'm not that. It's fine. No, Marcus, did you try OLED Motion Pro High on your CX? I can no longer play a single game without it. I would love to upgrade my C1, but will never do until LG brings back OLED Motion Pro High. So I'm not the expert in stuff like that. Ariel has to help me here. The video what I made with Zelda, that's not OLED Motion Pro High, huh?
So you are using motion interpolation, which is creating frames. But actually on the CX, you can use both. You can use motion interpolation and this OLED Motion Pro High. This OLED Motion Pro feature is a feature that the CX, GX, C1, G1 have. And it's basically to improve the motion clarity, and the way the TV improves the motion clarity is by reducing the persistence. So what is the persistence? For example, if you have 120 hertz, 120 FPS, sample and hold display, the persistence is like the frame time, how long each frame stays on the screen. So how can you calculate that? You divide 1 divided by 120, multiply by 1000 to get the results in milliseconds, and you get 8.3 milliseconds. So each frame stays on the screen for 8.3 milliseconds. That tells you the motion clarity. So what that means, 8.3 milliseconds of persistence means that the minimum motion blur possible for any display that has 8.3 milliseconds of persistence is 8 pixels of motion blur when moving at 1000 pixels per second. That is the Blur Busters law. So now what the LG CX or C1 with this OLED Motion Pro feature, what they do is to reduce that persistence. So basically what the TV does is it draws the picture left to right, top to bottom. And once it has a section of the screen draw, it's going to scroll that down and the rest of the screen is going to be black. So instead of drawing the entire picture, so you see the entire screen with the picture, and then waiting for the next picture, and it's gonna show you that for the entire frame time. Instead of doing that, it's just gonna show you a section of the screen. So now the motion clarity is going to be as good as how long you can see the frame. So you're gonna see that frame. The smaller that section of the screen is, the better the motion clarity. So that's what it is. So if you get that persistence reduced from 8.3 milliseconds, you get that persistence reduced to 2 milliseconds, which could be what the LG CX is doing. We still have to test that. That's the last thing I have to, I ask you, Marcus, to do that testing. That's the last thing that we have to work on, so I can put a video together about the LG CX specifically. So I know what happens on my LG C1 at 120, but on the CX, I don't know. I suspect it could have 2 milliseconds of persistence. But what happens on the LG CX, basically at 60 hertz, 60 FPS, I know that for sure because this is on the Blur Busters forums, okay? And the Blur Busters chief said that basically at 60 FPS, 60 hertz, the LG CX has 4 milliseconds of persistence. So what that means is that it looks like 240 frames per second. So you're playing your game at 60 frames per second. When you move the camera, it looks as clear as 240 frames per second.
I mean, I told you already that the S95C versus my G2 has this game motion
Plus.
Game Motion Plus, correct? Yeah, thank you. And I'm playing Diablo 4 on the S95C fixed to 60 hertz and using this on setting high or 2, whatever the setting is, the highest one. And it looks so bloody sharp when you move, there's almost no difference when you stand and look at the picture sharpness and then when you start moving. It's like, wow, unbelievable. And there is, so far I couldn't find any settings on the CX to actually copy this, but maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Anyway, I have to do more testing this, but yeah. But anyway, what do we have here? S. I'm jealous you have the S95C. I got the S95B for a good deal earlier this year and was blown away. Never had an OLED before. How much better is the S95C? I don't know because I never had the S95B, but I was not happy after I learned about the downsides from the S95B. Very inaccurate out of the box, and stuff like that. And then they changed all the pictures after firmwares and whatsoever. I mean, look, what I have to say is just back then when the S95B was released, actually no one was really excited but gamers, because of very powerful, bright pictures. But when you were listening to Classy or Ninichian or to Matt, there are professional calibrators. They were like, nah, it's fine, it's nice, but nah. But it's funny that both of them, so Classy and also Matt, they bought S95C. And if a professional calibrator is buying a TV, then I would think it's actually pretty good. So that's why I decided to get the S95C, and no, I'm not regretting this at all. Not regretting this. The only thing what is really missing is the fine-tuned dark area setting. If the S95C would have something like that next year in their models, it's wow. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that the S90C, the smaller screen sizes, they have the same S95B panel.
Probably.
And they just have the better software, or the new software basically. So based on the reviews, the S90C is very, very good. It's almost as good as the S95C, it's just not as bright. So basically the S95B, maybe if you know how to tweak the settings, how to get it to look the way you like, is gonna be, it's not gonna be worth it maybe to just upgrade to the S95C, because it's gonna be almost the same technology, just a little bit brighter maybe, and you might not tell that difference on the content. It's difficult to notice the difference when it is bright enough. It's difficult. It's for us, for our eyes, it's difficult to notice the difference in brightness when it is already bright, because the way of we perceive the brightness. So I don't think it's worth the upgrade, is what I'm saying.
No. I mean, look, it's the same going from the G2 to the G3. It's not worth it, in my opinion, because all what you gain is more brightness, but it's hard to see actually. Sevi has a question: how do you color calibrate WOLED for HDR without Karman? I don't know, because I'm using Karman, but I know it's a pain in the ass. Even Karman is officially supported for the CX and maybe C1. It's still not supported on the G2. It doesn't work on the G2, and it will probably never work. So that's why all my attempts are making HDR 3D LUT with one eye display. It's the same what I have, and display car were a failure. Okay, I'm not sure about this. So at some point when they fixed all the stuff on the CX, it worked just flawless. I can start at any point now HDR calibration at just a easy 3D LUT, not this 255 point whatever stuff, because it doesn't work quite well, and I think the colorimeter I'm using is not good enough. But it's working now. In the very beginning, when I bought DCX and Calmon, it didn't work at all, and I was actually asking my money back from Calmon, because and they said, no, we're doing updates, but it wasn't working. So and on the G2, it's still not supported. I don't know about the G3. Probably also not. So my recommendation actually, so if you buy a very expensive TV, maybe you should consider to invest $250-300 more for professional calibration at some point, maybe after 6 months, when the panel is,
I would say it's very simple. You just get this app on your cell phone and you can calibrate your TV. It's called Color Temperature Meter app. You can have fun with it, at least. Listen,
I should actually really compare this at some point. I mean, the i1 calorie meter, what I'm using, is not very accurate, but of course, much better than any phone. But it would be interesting to see what the difference is really.
Yeah, I'll share with you my take on that. But basically, based on what I've heard from TV calibrators, I am not a TV calibrator. I don't have a colorimeter. I do not know how to do a 3D LUT or anything like that. But what I heard is that 3D LUTs are for SDR, because on HDR you cannot get a better result than the factory result, and you might get even more color banding and all that kind of stuff. I heard that from TV calibrators, so I might be wrong because I don't know. But I don't think you can improve the HDR with a 3D LUT. That's for SDR, as far as I know.
Yeah, of course you can improve this, and you're right. If you do something wrong, so in the very beginning, when I didn't know much about HDR calibration, and you did something wrong, you had a terrible picture. Really, I'm not talking about this is a little bit elevated or whatsoever. So really terrible. So white was pink or whatsoever. It's possible. So Glassy wrote, the one Connect box has a DSC, the 40 gigabits isn't an issue. The issue is the boxes in general are flaky and have dropouts, even on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. So, I mean, he told me this the last time already, that he has even issues with Nintendo Switch. My Nintendo is not connected to the S95C at all. I have PlayStation 5, Xbox, and my PC at some point connected, and I never had any issues so far. Not sure if this is related because I'm using the short cable. Not sure if this is because I'm using different HDMI cables. They are 8K certified, but not sure if this is the reason. And I'm not sure if I'm using the latest firmware, but my TV is not online. I'm just downloading the firmware after some other people tested it, actually, because I don't trust Samsung at all in terms of firmwares. I trust LG, but not Samsung. So there are a couple of, and I think he has Leslie, you got the 77-inch version, I think. I don't think maybe that's a problem as well, or a difference. I don't know. I have the 65-inch version, so not sure about this. But that's of course another good thing. So even if it's dropping out on Nintendo Switch, and we're talking about a 1080p signal in SDR, then something is terrible wrong. This can't be. I could understand it in 4K, 140 hertz, VRR, HDR enabled, because then you need a lot of bandwidth. But Nintendo Switch should not drop out, not at all.
Yeah, one thing that I don't like, I mean, that One Connect box might be very flashy, very cool, but if it has, forget about the 40 gigabits. If it has these dropouts issues, it was a bad idea. I'm sorry. It's just giving the normal thing, because
absolutely,
just to make the TV thinner, you're sacrificing performance. That's a bad idea, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, fully agree. And it would be interesting, of course, if Glassy maybe is just unlucky and he is a faulty box, but I think maybe he tried this already. Maybe he can just replace it, quickly with another one. I don't know.
I heard that issue also from TKK YouTube channel, all about TKK. He also mentioned that he experienced some of those dropouts.
Okay, so my plan is anyway to actually, because I like to play the Baldur's Gate, and I like to see actually how it looks on the S95C. I will try this on the S95C, and if there's an issue, I will report it back. But so far, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and we're talking about HDR 4K 120, VRR enabled, so no problem. No. And I tried Ratchet & Clank on the S95C 144 Hz HDR, VRR, no problems. Jimmy Harrison, love the content, guys. You both do. Thank you. Do you think the consoles are capable for Unreal Engine 5? And if so, will we see soon more? We will see more soon? Yes, absolutely. They are capable of. It just depends how it looks then at the end. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it is all about the creator's decision. Okay, it's what they have to understand, that 30 frames per second is not a fidelity mode. There's nothing fidelity about 30 frames per second. Okay, that just looks very bad. So I was very upset with the performance of Remnant 2, because I really wanted to play that game. Okay, I'm not playing it. Like, it doesn't perform good enough on my PC for me to be able to enjoy that game. Okay, I beat Remnant once. I really wanted to play that game, but look at this. The game, it has no popping. Okay, so there's no, the trees on the distance, they are very detailed. That's very nice. Okay, let me turn it off because I don't care about a tree 20 miles away animating the leaves. Okay, when I'm trying to get a playable frame rate, and it doesn't matter if you load the graphics to the minimum, you cannot turn that off. Okay, so I am trying to play the game at DLSS performance, which is upscaling from 1080p on my 3080. Okay, that is more powerful than the console. That's more powerful than the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. And I cannot get low settings DLSS performance. I cannot get 60 frames per second solid in the entire game. It drops. So the developers need to understand that is not good enough.
Yeah. So how does actually the console version performs? Because I haven't touched the game at all.
It drops down to 720p. Okay, it's terrible. Good. It looks horrendous. Okay, the upscaling is actually very good for what it's doing, but the developers need to understand that playable frame rate is more important than any fidelity. Okay, and unfortunately,
that's your opinion.
Yeah, it's my opinion.
I share this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, some people and some reviewers and some YouTube channels promote that, quality of the pixels is more important than quantity of the pixels.
Yeah,
but the reality,
the photo mode, I agree, in the photo mode.
in the photo mode,
yeah.
But the reality is that I played, for example, Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I'm playing Ratchet and Clank right now on my PC, and they look absolutely unbelievable. The performance is fantastic. I can get any FPS I want. That looks amazing. Then I try to play Remnant, which is supposed to have more fidelity or whatever, and it looks bad. Okay, I don't care what's going on behind the hood. It looks bad, it looks blurry, and I cannot get 60 frames per second. So it's a bad decision. So the developers need to understand that. If you cannot ensure a level of performance, you cannot try to keep pushing the quality. And I heard from people that are developers, I've heard from people that know about Unreal Engine that actually this nanite technology is more performant than traditional rendering techniques. But then because it is more performant, they try to use it to get a better
More.
fidelity.
Yeah.
Exactly, to get more. Okay, that's
So at the
not a
end,
bad idea. That's not a bad idea, but give me both options. Give me the option that's more performant, and then give me the option that it looks better, so I can choose.
So at the end, we have again a not very well optimized game, or just you need a 4090 to play. That's good. But look, I'm trying to finish today my Ratchet and Clank side-by-side comparison between PlayStation 5 and PC. And I know I'm very late on this, but I still want to do it because I like to show people that it really depends on how good actually PC ports are made, and I would like to show how good actually PlayStation 5 is in this game, because people in the comment section told me already, oh, that's not even why are you doing this anyway, because the PlayStation 5 will lose. I can just laugh. The problem is I'm using now a 4080, which cost me $1,800. I can buy almost 3 PlayStation 5s for this money. You know what I mean? I can tell you, Ratchet & Clank looks for a $750 console much better than on a $1,800 graphic card. Full stop. Full stop. It is ridiculous how good this game is looking on a PlayStation 5 compared to my 4080. Full stop. That's how it is. And, when we're talking about, I haven't tried this game on my 3070 because I would probably have a very bad experience compared to my PlayStation 5. Absolutely.
Really? But
It's
you
crazy.
mean like draw distance, like specific fidelity of the shadows or the assets?
So you, of course, I'm comparing because I don't have that much time, and I think it's a fair comparison. I'm comparing the performance RT mode on the PlayStation 5 with the PC version fully maxed out, okay? Almost fully maxed out. I need to add something, but I don't want to spoil it too much for my video. But of course, we have the 40 FPS fidelity mode on the PlayStation 5 as well, which increases the resolution again and plus RT and whatsoever. And then I think the difference between PC and PlayStation 5 would be even closer in terms of resolution, because that's the only thing which is really outstanding when you compare PC and the PlayStation 5 version, resolution. But when you play the game and you can't focus on stuff, bloody hell, the PlayStation 5 version offers actually a better experience than my PC version. And the reason is that there is still the issue with the textures. When you set this to high or very high, you have frame time issues in the game. So I can't use high settings on my 4080 when I'm playing this game. I have to use medium settings to have a stable frame rate. It's unbelievable.
But you mean frame times? You're getting stutters, like
Yeah. So you have 80, 90 FPS or whatsoever, but the frame times you have stuttering all the time. It's very, very bad. It's very bad. Even on 4090s, you can read this on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's an issue.
Let me explain what I've experienced, because I don't get any stutter. But what happens when I go to a new area, when you load a new world, you might have to quit the game and boot the game one more time to have no issues. That's what I've experienced, because the performance drop, and it has to do with the way the game is, the engine is loading the assets or whatever. But after you do that, of course, you shouldn't have to do that. That's an issue for sure. But after I do that, I don't get any stutters. The performance is almost as good as Spider-Man and Miles Morales. A little bit less performance,
but what do you need? What you should do really you need to get a PlayStation 5, and then because you need to play Ratchet and Clank on a PlayStation 5. This is a flawless performance, you know. You have no dips, you have no stuttering, nothing at all, and then you boot up the PC version, and you experience this, and this. You know what I mean? Where you think, bloody hell, I have here a $4,000 PC, you know, and it's not as good the experience as on a $750 or $800 console. It's crazy. It's crazy.
The thing is that the bar is so low that if I get a game like that still has some issues, but at least I can get the FPS I want. I'm happy with it, and I'm okay. Like I didn't even mention, I'm okay with having to close the game and open it again. For me, that's like a small problem because of how bad we're getting these PC ports. But yeah, we shouldn't have to do that.
It was Laura. Yes, of course. Shit. Oh my God. I apologize. Really. I completely forgot. Oh my God. That's not good. That's in front of million of people. Or 62 at the moment. That's almost million. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Laura. Really. And it's good to see you. Maybe for the last time, because I didn't remember your name. No, but really sorry. Really sorry. No, but Laura and Fabian, they helped me a lot when I played the game. Bloody hell, this was great. We should do this again. What do you think? We really should do this again. I had so much fun. No, I had so much fun doing the live stream and playing a game like Resident Evil, because I was bloody hell. I can't play this game alone anyway, you know. And I thought, yeah, live stream would be great with some at least people that hell don't go there. You know, it was just great. Okay, sorry again, Laura. Sorry again. Will never happen again. Okay. So okay, we missed for sure a couple of. So we're talking about Unreal Engine 5. Okay, so I mean, Fortnite is Unreal Engine 5 game, or even 5.2, what they have now, and I think actually on the console it looks fantastic. It looks really, really good. It performs. Wow. I mean, that's their own game, you know. Epic game. I mean, it should work. You know, they should make it work. And I tried it back then, Fortnite on my 3070, and I was not actually happy about the performance on my 3070. Sorry. I never tried it with my 4080 so far. Never. To be honest.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In Fortnite, it does look amazing. On my PC, it looks very good. But when I turn off the Unreal Engine features, it looks better. Okay? Because if I can only get a performance makes the game looks better. That's what people don't understand. If I can only get 60 frames per second with DLSS performance, okay, just to increase the graphical fidelity, that doesn't look better than if I can get 100 frames or 120 frames solid, no drops, with DLSS balance. I'm not even talking about quality, okay? So if you can increase the frame rate and the sharpness of the picture at the same time, I don't care about having a tree that's 10 miles away with some popping, okay? So I want to have both options. And what happens, I believe, is that it is less work for the developers to use this nanite or whatever, because to have the option to turn it off, then they have to set up the LOD. So basically for the LOD, I believe you need to have 3 or 4 of the same assets. So you need to have like 3 or 4 trees, are different textures of the trees that, depending on the distance that you are, is going to load a different and less or more demanding asset, basically. So I believe that the reason why we do not have options in Remnant 2 is because it would take more work for the developers to give you the option to turn off that nanite. Okay, but in Fortnite you can turn it off, and I do turn that off because I want more performance. That's the problem.
I need to test this again, because there's so much stuff I really like to test with the 4080, because finally you can play 5-year-old games with the highest settings. You know, it's ridiculous, you know. And people keep asking me why I didn't buy the 4090. It's quite simple, because it's much more expensive. So for 20-30 FPS, you pay $1,000 more. That's how it is. that's why I considered go with the 4080, and because I can use my old power supply. So there's no problem with a 750 watt power supply, not at all. And I tried it with many games so far, so all good. No. Marcus, have you tried again Jedi Survivor on PlayStation 5 and Xbox? No, I haven't. No, I haven't read anything about a patch, and I would not expect anything. So maybe I need to do a follow-up video at some point and calling out Electronic Arts, because that's a joke, or not Electronic Arts, they're just the publisher. I think, was it Remedy? Who is the developer for this game?
The
Jedi?
same as a Star Wars. I forgot it.
Yeah,
I'll
okay, those
remember in a
developer.
moment. Yeah,
But
same.
anyway, that's
Respawn. Respawn.
Respawn. It was Respawn. Yes, correct. Yeah. So maybe calling them out for not caring anymore, because it's crazy. Because if you consider other companies like or other games like The Witcher 3, we get after I don't know how many years we're getting finally proper enhanced version. We're getting proper HDR stuff and whatsoever. And this game, which is $1 million, or there's $1 million company behind this, is not getting any proper patches. It's just ridiculous. But
yeah, I played the first one. I didn't beat the first one yet. I still have it installed, and it stutters too. The performance is bad. It's on Unreal Engine 4, but the performance is bad too. So, but this one is monumentally bad. So I didn't even install it yet.
Yeah, no, you don't need to. So I have to. Thank you very much to Electronic Arts. I got actually the PC version review code and the PlayStation 5 review code. Unbelievable. Thank you very much. And believe me, it's not easy to get this stuff. You need to be very, very
That's good.
bother people. But anyway, so because I would be very pissed if I would spend or would buy 3 versions of the game. To be very honest, I would be very, very pissed. But anyway, do you think Spider-Man 2 will have performance RT mode, considering it will be a lot bigger game than Spider-Man Miles Morales? I'm very sure it will have this, because the game engine is still the same. They will just improve it, So it will have the same options as the other Spider-Mans. We have probably a 40 FPS mode in the very beginning. We have VRR uncapped frame rate modes and stuff like that. I'm very sure about this. So if this is not the case, because we have this in the first part, then I don't understand.
Yeah, in my opinion, that Insomniac engine is the best. And again, yeah. I'm not having big issues on Ratchet and Clank. Like, I'm playing the game at 100 frames per second, rock solid, like no drops.
But you're using what settings on the texture quality?
High settings. I am using the highest settings for everything but the shadows. I have it on high, not on ultra. And I have DLSS performance on a 3080 5800 X3D. And all I have to do is, if I load a new world, or when it comes to a new place, not when you're playing the game and it loads the worlds fast. No, when you just go to another planet or something like that, I have to close the game and open it again. But aside from that, I don't see it's a rock solid performance, like no drops. And Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man and Miles Morales, those are the best looking games with the best performance that I've ever played on my PC. They just run like a dream. Like a dream. They have dynamic resolution scaling with upscaling at the same time, which is perfect, because if your CPU can keep up, you want 60 FPS, 100, 120, you can lock the frame rate, no drops. So Ratchet and Clank does have an issue with the dynamic resolution scaling that they have to fix, which is basically the dynamic resolution scaling algorithm is not aggressive enough, and it doesn't respond fast enough. So you get the FPS drop, and then the dynamic resolution scaling kicks in. It drops the resolution, and you get the target. So it's not good. It's not working well. So I'm not using it for now. But yeah, that engine is my point. Is that engine is the absolute best. So I bet that Spider-Man 2 is going to look as good as any game can look on the PS5 and probably on the PC too when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for this. I mean, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, to be very honest, so in terms of gameplay, but of course I'm interested in terms of the technique.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ratchet and Clank either, but the thing is that the game looks so good and it performs so well that I want to play it. That's why.
Hardware lover. I think hard lover. Yeah, hard lover is also good. I think shadow compilation starter are the biggest problem with Unreal Engine 5 on PC. I think this was also a problem with Unreal Engine 4 already, or there was always a problem. So
yeah, I think the Unreal Engine 5 I think they're gonna fix that if it's not fixed already, because I don't see the stutters on Remnant, like the kind of stutters that you see. It does stutter, but not the kind of stutter that we're used to see with Unreal Engine 4. But the problem is just the performance is just very bad. That's the problem.
So the Never Dead wrote, my PC just sits there. My PC also just sits there. And I have to, I admit, I'm playing much more on consoles than on the PC, but it's because it's so much easier. Just start the game and that's it. You know, it's just so much easier. But PC should always deliver the better experience in terms of graphical quality, actually. But well, yeah, it comes with a price.
For me, the problem with the console is I open a game on the PC, for example, and it has chromatic aberration, and you don't have the setting. You don't have the setting in the menu to turn it off. And on the PC, you can just go online and download a patch or a mod or modify the config file or something to delete that, to turn it off, and then I can play the game. So, but if on the console, if I have those kind of things forced and I cannot turn it off, that's just a deal breaker to me. Motion blur, chromatic aberration, you cannot turn it off. Like Sifu, for example. Sifu on the PC has motion blur forced, and there's no setting to turn it off. Why? I don't know why, but you can turn it off by modifying the config file on the PC. So you cannot do that in the console. That's a problem. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Nah, but that's something what I need to test more. I need to really test. I think I should install Fortnite. Yeah, that's the thing what I should do. Because that's, I think, you can test all the Unreal Engine stuff. But again, yeah, I don't know when. Anyway, I'm looking forward to finish my Ratchet and Clank. Well, I haven't really started because I need to record all the PC stuff again because they updated a couple of things or patches. But still, yeah, there are some. Anyway, that's what I learned over the years. PC ports are always, looking better with the highest settings, but in terms of performance, they're sometimes not on the same level. You know, and we have to be. The truth is that in Insomniac games on the PlayStation 5, they are, in terms of performance, they're outstanding. To be very honest, that's how it is, you know. And I mean, I would actually like to see. Of course, we will going to see another Ratchet and Clank for sure on the PlayStation 5. I'm very sure about this. I hope with improved graphics, if this is even possible on the PlayStation 5, because I think it's running on the limit, absolutely on the limit. But it's so good, you know. The next thing what I'm looking forward is actually Red Dead Redemption 2 enhanced version. This would be great. I mean, the first part is they have announced it officially, or the first part is getting an enhanced. Not officially.
It's rumors. No. I definitely want to play that game. Red Dead Redemption 2 looks so bad to me, in my opinion, because even with DLSS, that game has issues with the sharpness. If you use TAA, just the anti-aliasing from the game, it looks very blurry. Even if you use the mod, there's a mod to improve it a little bit, it still looks blurry. Then if you use DLSS, what happens, or what I see, is that there is a difference between the sharpness of the game when you are not moving, when you are static, and when you start moving the camera. So basically, it's a weird thing that you start moving the camera, the sharpness changes, that you stop the camera, the sharpness goes down. So it becomes sharper when you move the camera, and it's blurrier when you're not moving. So that looks so ugly, so bad, in my opinion. And then if you turn off the anti-aliasing, the game just looks broken. The LOD, the trees popping, it's just insane. Like, that game it should be the best looking game ever, and it looks so bad. It looks terrible, in my opinion, because of those issues.
Yeah, no, I need to. I played it on the PlayStation 4, but again, 30 FPS. It looks great. It looks great, really great. And the Xbox One version is actually native 4K 30 FPS. it's really a great looking game, and I think in terms of animations and stuff
The
like that, it's
best.
still
I mean,
one of the best game.
incredible.
Full stop.
The details of that
Yeah.
game, amazing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous actually what they put
Yeah.
in. But yeah, I'm waiting for. I mean, if we ever get an enhanced version, then it's not like The Witcher, just a patch. So we have to pay $80 for it because that's how it is. It's Rockstar Games. That's a different story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else? What do we have? Because I don't want to drag this too long today, because I really like to finish or start my Ratchet and Clank video. And people are actually asking me about Forspoken as well. I have this here on the PlayStation. I bought it finally for bargain. And I looked into it, and I have to say, bloody hell, this HDR is really good. No HDR black level rays. No, at all. It looks like the learning at some point. And I did when I did the demo version, when I tested the demo version, and I need to test this also. I need to install this without all the patches and test this again, because HDR was terrible in this game. Absolutely terrible.
I tested that game recently on the PC, and what I see is that the game does have like a minor black level raise. It's very close to zero, but the problem that I see is that it still looks washed out. So even if you can find a part of the game that actually gives you zero black, it still looks washed out. Near black, it just looks elevated. It looks too bright near black. So there's an option with this new Lilium HDR shaders on the PC with reshade. We have new HDR shaders to get this HDR analysis tool working, and to fix the HDR, we have tone mapping shaders, and we have a new shader to fix the black level raise. It is called HDR Black Level Floor Fix, I believe, if I remember correctly. So with this shader, there is a box that you can just check that box, one click, and it says enable Gamma 2.2 simulation. And on Forspoken on the PC, you just click that box and boom, the game is fixed. It looks perfect. Because what it does is it looks like SDR near black, basically. So that elevated look near black that looks grayish and kind of washed out, it looks now like SDR. And when you look at the graph on the HDR analysis tool, what's happening is that the graph near black gets kind of compressed, and it touches zero. So now you have perfect blacks. You are crushing a little bit of detail because there is actually a setting. So that enable Gamma 2.2 simulation has a setting that is called white point. So now I do not know how to change that setting aside from just using my eyes. I do not know where to look on this HDR analysis tool, where to look to say, okay, if this number is this, then I'm going to change this white point setting. I don't know yet. So you might have to tweak that white point setting. But with the default white point setting that is 80, you just click that box, enable Gamma 2.2 simulation, and Forspoken just looks perfect, in my opinion, that HDR. So that might be something that can work on other games. But yeah, with this new shader, you can basically fix the black level raise on the PC, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good news. So I'm still in the learning phase for this, and I'm still haven't implemented this in any of my videos when I'm doing PC ports, because I like to keep it very, very simple. So thanks God, my the Baldur's Gate offers actually contrast settings which almost eliminate the HDR black level raise, almost, but it looks so much better when you use this. So there's no need anymore actually to use fine-tune dark area settings or something like that. But of course, it's not perfect. But because if you start now, I mean, the shader tools are actually quite simple to implement, but not everybody can actually do this. So I'm really hoping that we don't need to use this tool all the time, because the developer actually should make sure that HDR looks great out of the box. But I mean, I'm just dreaming here, Anyway, Classy wrote that he will get the Sony A95L by end of the month. That's good news. I'm looking forward for this, even I'm not going to buy it. Because first of all, it's just too expensive, Sony. They asking ridiculous prices here in Australia. But I'm looking forward, of course, about the performance, what it can deliver.
Yeah, the problem with Sony, and I've seen this on the classic reviews, is that they don't let you turn off the dimming. So that's a problem because you lose brightness when you have static elements or just a static picture or logos and stuff. So that's a big problem. If you cannot turn that off on the service menu, that's a deal breaker for some people. I know for me, I would get a Samsung any day. I don't care how good the calibration of the Sony is. If I cannot turn off that dimming, that's a deal breaker. I'd much rather get a Samsung with messed up firmware or whatever. Just because I can turn off, I know I can do a lot on the service menu. Sony doesn't let you do anything.
I understand, yeah. The Lazy Gamers, I don't think that we're streaming in 30 minutes, but maybe next time. Okay. And just, what is this here question? If black leather is so bad for both of you, why is the stream background gray? I don't know. Is the stream background gray?
Yeah, that happens. I seen. Yeah, that happens. So for some reason, StreamYard, this background is supposed to be black, but it doesn't. It is not black on YouTube for some reason. It is washed out.
Okay.
It is washed out.
I mean, it looks black here. What I'm having here at the moment.
The result,
but later
is not
on,
that.
not. Oh,
no.
Okay.
On YouTube, when you watch the stream, this is not. It's gray, and the problem is, limited inside full and all that. Okay.
So now it's better.
That's better.
No, I'm not aware of this, but anyway, we don't want to have raised blacks. No, I don't want to have.
Let me say something about the raised blacks and this new HDR shader. It's actually very simple. There's one number that you need to tweak. That's it. So if you have, let's say you have a black level raise, you use the HDR analysis tool. So yeah, you need a PC, you need to install Reshade, you need to copy these Lilium shaders, but PC gamers know how to do that. That's not a problem. A lot of people have been using Reshade for a very long time. So all you have to do is look at where it says minimum CLL on the game, and that's a number. So you go to a dark corner in the shadows, and you're supposed to get 0 perfect blacks on the shadows. I believe, that's what we should be getting. So if it doesn't say 0, it might say 0.0003 or something like that. You go to this new HDR black floor fix shader, Lilium's black floor fix shader, and there is a number that you have to change. That's it. It says black point before something. I forgot the name of that thing. It's a single number. You have to increase that number until you see minimum CLL 0. That's it. That's all you have to do, and you get perfect blacks.
I mean, on the other hand, we need to if you haven't watched my Baldur's Gate video, then it's a must to watch. The whole video, or you skipped?
No, I watched the whole video. No,
I watched it. Thank you. No, but because it's really interesting when you change the contrast setting to 1.50, which looks terrible. You have almost, you have 0.000 whatever. This is it's not visible. I mean, you can actually see it, because if you change the fine-tuned dark area settings from 0 to -1, you can see something is happening. But
you said
it's not
-4.
With 1.1025. But 1.50, it's actually just 1. You know what I mean? It's just 1, and you can see something is happening. We don't need to talk about this. Even -4, to be very honest. If you have a normal lit room, not a complete black room, and even in a black room while you're playing the game, it's very hard to see -4. Defined in dark area setting. It's okay. Not perfect, but it's okay. But it's interesting why when they're delivering this game, or the standard setting is 1.0, the contrast, it looks terrible. It looks absolutely terrible. And even I compared this a little bit with SDR. SDR looks so much better in contrast, but then when we're changing this to at least 1.25, it's very, very similar. And of course, on top you have the great HDR picture on Baldur's Gate. It's just, I like this game, but I know I will never finish it, probably, like other games. I finished actually Baldur's Gate 1 back then. I finished it. I don't know. Is this 25 years ago? Something like that?
I haven't played those kind of games.
People on the chat, just because you think now, and I need to make this very clear, it's not, first of all, it's not a PlayStation 5 exclusive game, okay? I played this already on the PC, so stop doing this, okay? And if you now think that Baldur's Gate is like Diablo, don't buy it, okay? Don't buy it, okay? You will be very, very disappointed, okay? It's a hardcore RPG, full stop. It has nothing in common with Diablo. the controller support. Okay, has controller support. But it's just, it's a great game. I like it. So what's your thought about LG OLED B9? Still good for 2023? So, I mean, I wouldn't buy it if I get the offer. Let's say like this, maybe for $50. Yes, probably. Or $100. Yeah, I would buy it, but not when you get, it depends on the price, you know. If you still own the TV, and you like to upgrade to a G3 or S95C, you will... The B9 was actually brighter than the CX, correct? Yeah. Oh, no, it's the B9. Yeah.
The
Not
C9,
sure about
I think the
this.
C9 was brighter than the CX.
Yes, yes. So
based
I'm
on
not
what I
quite
heard.
sure. So, I mean, you get all the nice features with fine-tuned dark area settings and the game bar and stuff like that. If you like this stuff, then I would upgrade. But in terms of performance, I'm very sure the B9 is still a good TV. Full
Yeah,
stop.
if you have 120 hertz perfect blacks WRGB OLED, that's the same thing. It's almost the same.
Do you think the rumors about a PlayStation 5 Pro is real? Absolutely. Of course, they're working, since they released the PlayStation 5, they're working on a PlayStation 5 Pro. And the other team is already working on a PlayStation 6. So yes, the rumors are true. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think this is something good, actually, because what that means, if they have a Pro, PlayStation 5 Pro, what that means is that 30 FPS is going to be like the norm for all the PS5 games. And then you have the Pro to maybe get a 60 FPS. So what that means for the PC also is that the performance is going to be worse and worse and worse. What we have to understand, here's the problem. People think that we need a more powerful PC, a more powerful console to enjoy the games. You can get 60 frames or 120 FPS on any console that can output that. So let's say your console can output 4K 120. You can get 4K 120 frames per second on every single game. It's just the creator's decision. Now, of course, everyone wants the games to look good, but you have to understand, what the developers need to understand, and everybody, is that once you see 120 frames per second, give me that. Okay, I don't care about the trees 20 miles away moving. Give me that. If you have to modify the art style, whatever you have to do to give me sharp 120 frames per second, rock solid, no drops, okay, do it. And that's what the developers don't understand. And they think that 30 frames per second is a fidelity mode. There's nothing fidelity or cinematic about 30 frames per second.
I looked the word up, and I can't see why they're using fidelity in combination with 30 FPS. It's not.
There's nothing.
It's for screenshots. I fully understand you do screenshots. When you use photo mode, change it to 8K, 16K, 10 frames per second. It doesn't matter, but not when I'm playing a game.
When you're playing the game, you're moving the screen all the time.
Yeah, I try to explain this to someone, because you have 30 you have now a native 4K resolution, which looks great when you're not doing anything. As soon as you're moving around, everything gets blurry. You can't see anything of the 4K resolution.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's what I just. Do you guys send your findings to game devs so they can patch games? No, because they will not listen to us anyway. So we need to, no. It's you need to have more subscribers, like Digital Foundry or whatever. Then they're looking into this, and we are not professionals. You know what I mean? We're just starting this, and we're learning and whatsoever, and we don't have the tools and not the time. And no, there's no point to do this. Really, there's no point. They will not listen. You know, and most likely they know before we making videos, they know about the issues already. No worries, they know this. Okay, the Lazy Gamer, happy to come on next time, as long as the Dolby Atmos Gaming stream. It's an area I've been working in for quite some time, and there's been a ton of interest in the topic since it came to PlayStation 5. Yeah, I'm more than happy that I actually put this on the topic or the agenda next time as well, because sound is for me very important. So just maybe write me or hit me up on Twitter or whatsoever, or somewhere else, or Discord or on YouTube or whatever. Send me an email, and we can make this happen for sure, because I have literally no idea about this topic. No idea at all. Okay. I think we're coming to an end here today, because I really like to start my video about Ratchet and Clank. Hello guys, hello. Alan Card. What do we have here? If the PlayStation 5 Pro is real, so what is the expectation about HDR? Maybe 8K resolution or more? We have already 8K resolution on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. And we have one game, I think, the output. So it's the Tourist has a native 8K output, I think, on the console in 60 FPS, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
But my expectation will be the HDR will not change because of the PlayStation 5 Pro. No. That's
the thing with the increased resolution is that you need an exponentially higher frame rate. Okay, let's say you have 4K 120 FPS 120 hertz. You need 8K 240 to get the same, to keep that 8K fidelity the same way you're keeping that 4K fidelity at 120, which is not a lot. 120 FPS is still not enough. Okay, it's not enough. We need at least 240 to start seeing some motion clarity. Still 120 FPS is blurry. 120 FPS is 8.3 milliseconds of persistence, equal to 8 pixels of motion blur when moving at 1000 pixels per second, which means on a 4K screen, an object moving left to right takes 4 seconds. Okay, so for an object moving on the screen and taking 4 seconds to go from left to right, you're seeing 8 pixels of motion blur. That's a lot of motion blur. That's what we need to understand. That's why even 60 FPS is not enough. These developers, knowing that most TVs on the market are 120 hertz, they should target 120 FPS, modify the game, and make it work. That's my opinion. And then we think about 8K.
So how long do you think it will be until OLED mini LEDs are widespread enough to the point that HDR becomes the default mode on most content? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, nowadays, even the mid-range TVs having now HDR. You know what I mean?
All TVs have HDR. Almost all TVs and monitors have HDR.
There's no excuse anymore, in my opinion, not to have HDR. You know, that's as a default. You know, that's
and especially the game trailers. Most people watch media on an HDR display or on their phones, which have good HDR. The game trailers should be HDR. There's no better way to showcase how good the game looks with a good HDR trailer.
Okay, yeah, just because Glassy wrote this, so the PlayStation 5 actually can't output 8K. Okay, I was actually an impression it can output 8K on a 8K screen, or you can set it to 8K. The PlayStation.
It says 8K on the box, but yeah, I think I heard Digital Foundry the other day talking about this, and they said that no, the PS5, I think it cannot output 8K.
So why are they putting it on the?
Because it's wrong.
It's false. Okay, giving it back.
Advertisement. Yeah, that's what.
So can the Xbox do it? Output 8K. I'm not saying play in game, but output 8K.
The bandwidth allows it.
Yeah.
8K 30. Yeah. With 40 gigabits per second, you can do 8K. You can do even 8K 60, but it needs to be 420. It cannot be 444 full chroma. 8K 60.
Okay. The Xbox accordingly can output 8K. So maybe that was then on the Xbox where you can play this game in 8K. Maybe I mixed this up. PlayStation 5.
The HDMI 2.1 bandwidth of the Xbox is higher. The PS5 I think is 32 or 38.
Yes,
32. 32, and the Xbox is 40, I believe.
Okay, yeah. I'm just used on. Okay, yeah. No, I think it's too late. Anyway, so I think this was a great live stream in my opinion, and I think next time we picking up the topic again, Dolby Atmos, because I think it is interesting, and maybe that's something where I need to improve my room anyway, you know, in terms of sound a little bit better. I mean, I have a 5.1 sound system, but maybe Dolby Atmos, you know, putting a couple of speakers here and there. But let's see. I think that's something what we should pick up next time. And you have free PlayStation 5 Pros for everyone. Okay, that's great. Okay. I'm taking one. No worries. Okay.
We didn't touch. We can maybe talk about that later. Another time. We didn't touch on the LG stopping improvements, just selling you ads on the TV and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Now we didn't do this, but that's not good. But let's see what the plan is from LG then. Because to compete against QD OLED, it's probably a bad decision. Maybe. Well, I don't know what they're doing then. Let's see. But if they're stopping improving, maybe Sony is starting. Maybe I need to buy a Sony TV then.
No, basically on that. Yeah, it was a FOMO video where I saw that. Basically, he said that LG was not like very happy with the money they were making with the TVs, and then they see companies like Hisense just doing this, focusing on selling people's viewing habits, and that's how they make their money to advertisers. So basically, they are making money. Hisense and these companies are making money after they sell you the TV. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like they're making more money like that than by just selling you the TV. And LG is like, okay, what are we wasting our time here? We're not making money. Let's do that instead. Stop trying to make better TVs, because at the end of the day, most of the content that people watch is very bad and low quality anyway. Like just regular TV is like 1080p, 30 frames per second, or even 720p. If you watch cable, it's just terrible. So you don't need a super high end picture quality or whatever. And that's why.
So let's answer 2 last questions. Do you believe the industry killed plasma TVs for reaching the top of picture quality so early? What do you think?
No, I believe that they killed plasmas because they are very expensive to manufacture.
Yeah.
Is that super heavy, too much
absolutely.
material?
Yeah.
Too expensive.
So Pioneer was back then the pioneer of OLED TVs. Plasma TVs. And much better than Panasonic, actually, in my opinion. But Pioneer just stopped producing them because it was not. They couldn't afford it.
I opened the back of my Pioneer Kuro. I have a 151 FD, Elite Pro 151 FD. I opened the back, and that thing looks like it's coming from another planet, like from NASA or something. It's like everything is aluminum, shiny aluminum material. Like the size of the boards are the size of the TV. Like along the TV, it's just boards, like green boards full of capacitors are huge. Like it's just too much material. It's too expensive.
That's
too heavy. That's why.
Yeah. And this one, the last one, does OLEDs have bad screen glare? What do you think about bad screen glare, Ariel?
Reflections. I love. I mean, in my opinion, the best.
You love reflections.
Yeah, the best screen possible is the screen that all these LG OLEDs have. It's like a mirror. Okay, it is It's like a mirror, literally, but it looks darker. It looks more black. Okay, you don't get raised blacks with a little bit of lighting conditions. Of course, you want to turn off the lights to watch the TV, but that's the kind of screen coating that I want. For me, for example, monitors are. I cannot buy any WRGB monitor right now on the market because they all have a terrible matte finish. Okay, and a matte finish. I mean, a terrible. No, I can say. Reviewers say that that's probably the best matte finish ever. But a matte finish is still a matte finish. It just destroys the vibrancy of the display. It introduces some grainy, like it gives you such a grainy picture even on a dark room, and it just looks bad because it washes out the picture as soon as you have a light hitting the screen. The screen just turns it's just terrible. It looks very, very bad. So all the WRGB OLEDs we have on the market, that monitors, they have a matte finish, terrible matte finish. And the QD OLEDs, they do have some, they have glossy finish, but then they have, because they don't have the polarizer, that you get raised blacks under lighting conditions. So you need to be in a dark room anyway. But
yeah, so I prefer my Samsung S95C in terms of reflection over the CX and LG. I prefer it, but I agree. You have, of course, downsides as well. But the fact that I'm watching in a almost complete dark room actually doesn't make it sense then. But when you compare both technologies, I prefer S95C. But that's just our own preference. Okay, this was noisy. No, that's just my own preference. Okay. Okay, this one, and that's the last one. Okay, then bending is still a problem for OLEDs. Yes, no, not on the Samsung QD OLEDs, for sure not. Not that much, in my opinion.
Color banding is there.
Not that much.
It depends on the content.
Is, but yeah,
it depends on the content. There are some games that you see color banding everywhere, and there are some games that you cannot see it anywhere. I would say it depends on the content then, because why?
Yeah. No, but in general, I think they're getting much better and better. Okay, guys, that's our people, friends, subscribers. So do me a favor, of course, subscribe to Plasma TV for Gaming, because if you like to get into details like crazy, then he's the guy. I'm just offering videos for the no, I shouldn't say this, but I'm trying, I try to make easier solutions. Okay. So because that's anyway, so watch his videos when it comes to shaders and stuff like that, and motion clarity on OLED TVs. It's great. And and watch my Baldur's Gate video, what I made. Okay. Put a lot of work in. Okay. Do this, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the shout outs. Thank you for having me, Marcus, again. Thanks to everybody for being here. We do this
in 14 days again. So we try to do this bi-weekly. Not sure if I can do it at some point weekly, which would be, of course, better, because then people know they can expect the best live stream every week. They don't need to wait for Digital Foundry then, because they can watch us. Oh my goodness, I'm just making jokes.
Well, that's good. It is official. It's on.
It's
bi-weekly. It's on.
Bi-weekly for sure. Now, if I can increase this to weekly, then I will try to do this weekly, but I'm not quite sure. Okay. Anyway, okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay, thank you very much, people on the chat. Great live stream, Ariel. Okay, I'll see you next time. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.